power security, your security.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of great solutions out there. And we're talking mostly about the problems, it seems like, and I have gotten to the point where I just read headlines,
Yeah.
Very few articles do I dig down in. I need to know more about this. I don't, it's getting into the fear porn, right? That you hear that all the time. I definitely don't want to create fear or anxiety. So I like to know what's going on by skimming through what's going on, because I've been doing this for a long time. I kind of know what's going to be in that article when I see the headline, right? Like, okay, I'm not even going to read it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's to my detriment, but depending on the source. But then stepping back and saying, okay, this bank, like you're saying, like these big banks, they've been putting out warnings for literally for years. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
where we see a slowdown coming up, or we think you should do this or that, and the gold becomes a tier 1 asset, and all these little clues, all these little pieces that are popping up that say, maybe I should do what the big banks are doing, the big countries are doing. What are they doing?
Yep.
They're buying gold, they're buying silver, they're getting out of the dollar. They're well, look at China and and Russia. What are they doing? They're buying food. They're stockpiling on food. So look at what these banks and countries are doing, and not necessarily what they're saying.
Bingo. That's a key element right there, because they're going to give all that fear porn. They're going to get you to do things that are going to promote something that they want you to do, not what you should be doing. And just like recently in the news, this whole idea, like right now, there's a bunch of buzz about how the Fed raised the interest rate. And so the stock market's crashing because of the news, and it's correcting and all those other things. You should have your money in the stock market if you feel good about that. But have money in cash and reserve so you can buy the dips. You don't have all your eggs in one basket is the end of the day, and make sure you're watching and learning and being wise. Cause you're right, Shane, a couple of years ago, I remember somebody got on, they had the, I don't know if you remember the old Tony the Tiger Kellogg, where they blacken the face out so you can't see who it is, and they make the voice all strange. It was I'm dating myself, I suppose, by having that commercial as a remembrance that I'm sharing. But this guy was on there. Go ahead.
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, it's the same style interview they do with someone who is a witness of like a mob crime, and they're protecting the witness by having all the lights off, and then they alter the voice. I didn't mean to eat the cereal, but I loved the cereal.
Yeah, that was back in the day as Frosted Flake. Anyway, so this guy gets on. He's like, I'm an insider economist, and we're going to have a recession in the next 6 months. Well, that was 18 months ago. Where's the recession, bro? Should we have been preparing? Absolutely. Was it a kind of a wake up call to me to get ready and do some things to be ready? Yes. But the sky's never falling as bad as they say it is. Number one, it's never as bad as they say it is. It may not ever be as good as they say it is. It's always going to be somewhere in the middle. And that's as long as you maintain that consistency and you just recognize, hey, you know what? This guy over here screaming that the end of the world's tomorrow. Maybe it is. This guy over here saying that we're going to be here for another thousands of years. Maybe it is. I'm going to prepare for tomorrow by doing what I need to do today. And just staying that steady course.
Paris, I take the exact opposite. I plan for worst case. I go all in and just cross my fingers, right?
Yeah.
And then there's me, who I don't want to live in anxiety, which is the fear of tomorrow. I don't want to live in depression, which is what happened yesterday. I want to try to do as best I can with what I have, which is today. Today is a gift. That's why they call it the present.
Nice.
The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time, fruit tree, to plant a fruit tree is today. Like, yes, only getting a little bit prepared today is going to give you a little bit better opportunity in the future. But every day counts. As long as you've got a day, use that day.
Mm-hmm.
Use that day. Appreciate the things you have. Look at your situation. There's a lot of stuff, honestly, that most people have that's garbage in their home. Garbage. How many snowboards do you need? How many extra bicycles do you need? How many Christmas decorations or holiday decorations do you have that you haven't put up in the last couple of years? Like, there's Facebook Marketplace, and there's so many different websites you can offer these things up and sell, and then use that money to go get something that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Assets that are going to protect you against inflation and market crashes and market corrections. My favorite asset is food. Why? Well, because right now it's inflating like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't eat gold, and I can't eat silver, and I can't eat the stock market I wouldn't
That's
even know
true.
how to try. I could pick up a piece of silver right now and try to chomp on it, right? But stock market's fake money anyways. It's all based on perceived value. So you've got to be a little bit more resilient when you put your money in the stock market, because you're trusting other people to manage that for you. You're trusting other people to run the businesses right? There's a whole lot of, like, you could go all over the place with it. But my personal opinion is the things people need the most are the things that are going to be the most valuable in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys
beans, bullets, band-aids, the 3B, the absolute basics of preparedness.
How about nails? What about nails?
Absolutely.
Okay, so see, here's something I want to read to you guys. See if you guys have heard this before. For the want of a nail. Have you heard this before? It's an old 1700. I think it's credited to Benjamin Franklin, but it might be even older than him. And I was just reminded of this again the other day. I'll read this to you. For the want of a nail. For the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. For the want of a shoe, the horse was lost. Mm-hmm. For the want of a horse, the rider was lost. For the want of a rider, the battle was lost. For the want of a battle, the kingdom was lost. So there's probably a lot of different ways to apply that. Of course, mine is, of course, hindsight. That's the first word that comes to mind after that is hindsight. Because you can't see what ripple effect something, not actually having a nail is going to, how that's going to impact you. So like you're saying, Scott, you can't eat gold, can't eat silver. Stuff is important. Everything's inflating. And that's another way to hedge the future. Buy your food now, and it's like an investment. If inflation is really 8% or 15% or whatever it is, maybe even 30% at this point, buying your food or whatever supplies you need now is going to save you 30% in the future, if you can even get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the simple way to put it too is this: a lot of people get in the mindset, I've got to go buy a year's supply of food today. Especially in Utah, you hear that all the time. Go get your year's supply of food, and you go to the online stores and you can buy a year's supply of freeze-dried foods. Again, great if you can afford it, great, but it's not practical now or in the future to rely on that solution, right? You can buy it, and you've preserved a period of time in your life in the future. You're protected. But what makes the most sense is go buy exactly what's in your pantry and work on doubling that, and then triple that and quadruple that. And because the reason for that is you should be rotating the food you're using all the time. And if you do that, like I've got food I'm eating right now that I bought 2-3 years ago. And I've got like these cans of food. For example, a can of chili that I'm eating right now cost me 28 cents. I go buy a can of chili today at the store because we just went and bought some yesterday. It was $1.80.
What?
15 ounces, 3.5 servings. Now that's nothing. Like if I went out to eat, that's stupid money at that point, right? And I still do it because I like my burgers and I like someone else to make them. I'm just weird, but like, it's nice to be able to go out and do all that stuff. But it's like a burger and fries today versus a burger and fries a year ago. It's gone up over 40%.
Yeah.
In a year. They say inflation's 7 or 8% right now across the board. Look at the cost of a used vehicle.
I think it's gone up almost 30% this year alone.
It's gone up almost 100% in the last 3 years.
Yeah. I went to Taco Bell the other day with my little girl and we bought a quesadilla. She loves quesadillas. And the quesadilla, I used to pay like $2-3. It was like $4 or $5. I'm like, that's double. That's not 7%. I was just like, whoa. And then some of these places in town are like, after a certain time of the day, you go in there, they don't even have stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah,
so
the
getting the right things makes total sense. Like nails. I've got family that used to be homesteaders that started in Virginia and worked their way west. Now they're in Idaho and Utah. And they would burn down their homestead to take the nails with them when they go to build a new homestead.
Wow. That's legit.
And that's the norm. That's how it used to be. They would burn down the home and then collect all the nails. Now remember, these are one-room homes. They're not that big.
Yeah.
That's how valuable a nail would be. And resources like that are hard to just make.
Waste not, want not.
Waste not, want not. Use it up, wear it out, make it do or do without. And so
I love that.
all the things that we're telling you, like to pay attention to, the solution to those is to make the practical application of what you're doing, what you're spending your money on, make more sense, not just for today, but for tomorrow. Like, are you buying your kids toys that are going to break in a day or two? Or are you buying them toys that are going to last for the next generation? They don't really make toys much that will last. Right. But if you can find the ones that do, get those. You know, are you buying things that have diminishing value or diminishing return? You know, investors will always tell you what, buy something that's going to appreciate, provide a dividend, or pay it, you know, give you interest. Buy something that's going to, you know, produce more. Like the wealthy trick is you buy assets that pay for your things. And then you get an asset to then pay for your new car. You don't just go buy a new car. And so we need to think about just our daily purchases that way. And it's going to do two things for you. It's going to give you peace, but it's also going to give you things that have way better value than what you've been buying the last few years or the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your life. It's going to change your mindset into a wealth mindset, which is going to give you a foot up in preparedness because you're focusing on, instead of buying this shiny new thing or that shiny new thing, you're going to look at it and go, do I really need that?
And I think right now, that applies to a lot of things. Obviously, like you mentioned, used cars. Right now, buy a used car, it's just going to go up in value. If you can imagine, if China does take over Taiwan, what's going to happen to our semiconductors? You know, used cars are going to continue to go up in value. So I know that's happened with all of my vehicles in the last couple of years. They've become assets. They are liabilities in truth, right? But they become assets where I could turn around and sell them for more. And same, you know, because of inflation, same with the food, same with ammunition. You know, I purchased a good chunk of my ammunition, or say most of it, several years ago when it was still cheap. And now I consider that an asset, right? So things, stuff. And
does it make you not want to shoot sometimes?
It does. Absolutely.
You're like, if I replace that bullet, it's now $3, but I only spent 15 cents on this. Like,
exactly. It's at least 100% since more since when I purchased most of my ammo. But that's the mindset I've taken on everything is, you know, to buy things now, if you can afford it, right? You don't want to go into debt to go buy things. But if you've got dollars sitting in the bank that are depreciating, you know, again, this is kind of a solution, you know, in my mind is if you got dollars in the bank that are sitting there making 0.1%, you know, per year, every time I look at my checking statement, interest received 1 cent. What good does it have any cash in the bank whatsoever? So, you know, for me, I put it in gold, silver, put it in things, right? I know my family's going to need this in the future. I'll go buy it now and stick it in the garage or stick it in the basement. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what I recommend is look forward to what you might need, and if you can, get it now. Don't wait, because it's going to cost more, first of all, and then it'd be harder to get.
Don't shoot yourself, or don't kick yourself for not buying it 5 years ago. Buy it now, because in 5 years you'll wish you'd bought it 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Which is the now. And the other thing, when you're looking to buy something, make sure it's a quality thing. I'd rather buy something that's going to be a little bit more expensive now. For example, let's say you want to buy a nice EDC knife or something, an everyday carry knife. You know, it's better to spend a little extra money to get that quality knife that's going to be there and be sharp and be strong, than to buy the knife that's cheap and then, you know, before you know it, it breaks. And, 2, 3 months, 6 months, a year later, it breaks. And you're like, now what do I do? Like, now you got to go buy another one, which is probably buying 2 knives is more expensive than the one knife you would have bought had you just bought the quality knife.
Absolutely.
And so buying quality item, whether that's clothes, shoes, cars, buy quality and that value that will last. And then when you do make it do without, wear it up and wear it out, it will take way longer for you to wear it out.
Case in point.
Absolutely. Yes.
Buying something that's used oftentimes is better quality and better lasting than a lot of the new stuff. Like I like certain types of knives. Like I carry this knife all the time with me. That's my daily EDC. However, in my bag, I carry this knife. Who knows what knife this is?
Kamar.